a reversal of the Earth's magnetic poles not seen in over 700,000 years. Within days, the seafloor is exposed. The continents are flooded, satellites are falling from orbit, and whatever lived in the deepest parts of the ocean is now moving across dry land. On the Caribbean Sea, a family is spending their vacation aboard a yacht. The mother, Julia, enters the water for a swim. While floating, she senses something unusual beneath her. Though nothing is visible, she dismisses it. Moments later, the sensation returns. Still unable to identify the source, she grows uneasy and begins swimming back toward the yacht. Something then grips her leg. She calls out for help, struggling to stay afloat. Her daughter, Cassie, cannot hear her. She is wearing headphones. Her husband, Tom, and son, Ben, are occupied with fishing and do not notice. Julia continues to fight against whatever has hold of her, her cries becoming harder to sustain as water enters her mouth. Tom eventually notices Julia's absence and searches the yacht until he spots her in distress. He gathers the children, steers the yacht closer, and enters the water. He reaches Julia, supports her, and swims back to the vessel. The children help pull them aboard. Julia, shaken but uninjured, attributes the experience to a strong current. That evening, the family marks Ben's birthday with cake and gifts.
Happy birthday, dear Ben.
Cassie steps outside with her laptop to take a private call from her boyfriend. During the call, he shows her a view of the city. Thick, dark storm clouds have gathered on the horizon. The connection cuts out. Cassie returns to inform the family. Tom attributes the disconnection to their distance from land and the poor signal that comes with it. Shortly after, a noise draws them outside. A pod of whales is passing nearby. Tom explains that whales normally navigate using the Earth's magnetic field, but when storms produce magnetic disturbances, the animals become disoriented and follow the storms toward the coast instead. The yacht then shudders. Ben falls. Tom suspects damage to the hull and dives to inspect it. He resurfaces with a cut on his shoulder, explaining that he sensed a large presence behind him, turned and made contact with the propeller. He could not identify what was in the water, but whatever it was large. The hull has sustained significant damage. The family attempts to contact help. Julia works the radio repeatedly. Cassie searches for a mobile signal. Neither succeeds. Ben startles Cassie with a prank mask during the search. But the moment passes without consequence. The yacht's engine eventually fails entirely, leaving the vessel stranded. Julia picks up a voice on the radio, though it is fragmented and unreadable. Tom assesses their food and water supply, enough for 4 days, and tells the family they will need to wait for a passing fishing vessel. The radar then registers movement nearby. The family goes to the deck and watches as several objects streak through the sky and strike the ocean and land in large, fiery impacts. One lands close to the yacht. Tom pushes the engine to move. A second object crashes nearby. The family holds together on deck as Tom determines that the objects are not meteorites. They are satellites re-entering the atmosphere. Ben notices smoke rising from the yacht. Tom confirms the engine is beyond use. Wind begins to intensify. The family retreats inside, not noticing the compass spinning erratically. The yacht rocks heavily. Ben falls again, sustaining an injury. Tom fights the wind to retrieve life jackets from an exterior storage box and brings them inside. The power fails. Tom locates the circuit panel and restores it. When the lights return, Ben notices that Julia's nose is bleeding. As Julia grows lightheaded, Cassie moves to the sink and vomits. Tom continues attempting the radio. A sharp, high-pitched sound fills the air, and the wind escalates further. Julia holds the doors closed, but a hatch tears open. Windows begin to break. Tom lights a flare before the cabin goes dark. The following morning, the family comes to in the wreckage of what the storm left behind. The yacht is heavily damaged. They go outside and find that the ocean is gone. The yacht sits on dry, exposed seabed. All around them is desert. The family takes stock. Cassie finds no mobile signal. Ben discovers 2 dead crabs and examines them. Tom checks the compass and determines that the magnetic poles have reversed. The last time that occurred was over 700,000 years ago. Cassie breaks down when she concludes that her boyfriend, last seen before the storm overtook the city, is most likely dead. She withdraws from the family, refusing comfort from Julia. While Julia and Tom inventory their remaining supplies, Ben ties his birthday balloons to a nearby rock, hoping they might draw attention from other survivors. Tom reestablishes contact on the radio. A man named Now, the captain of a submarine, responds. His vessel is also grounded. He confirms that the magnetic pole reversal caused the oceans to withdraw and flood the continents. Now has encountered no other survivors and reports that most communication infrastructure is inoperative. Based on periodic seismic activity, he estimates the poles will reverse again within a week, which would return the seas. When the oceans come back, he warns, the event will be violent, and the family should move to the highest elevation they can reach. Now's crewmate died in the crash. The submarine has space for 3 passengers. Julia and Tom persuade him to take the children. Now relays his coordinates. Tom calculates a 2 to 3 day journey on foot. He tells the family to rest and prepares to leave at first light. The next morning, as the family packs, Tom spots movement in the distance. A man with a dog approaches. He is limping and carrying an improvised harpoon. Tom walks toward him and offers water. The man drinks, then strikes Tom with the bottle and kicks him to the ground. Before Julia can reach them, the man drives the harpoon into Tom's stomach. Tom dies within moments. The attacker then pursues Julia, throwing the harpoon and catching her shoulder. She reaches the yacht ahead of him, gets the children inside and locks the doors. She hands Cassie and Ben the flare gun, instructs them to hide inside the sofa, and takes a knife to the bathroom. The man forces entry, takes food, and searches the vessel. When he moves toward the bathroom, Julia climbs out through a breach in the hull. He looks outside but does not locate her. As she attempts to move away, the dog finds her and brings her to the ground. Julia kills the animal with her knife. The man hears the dog and comes out. Finding it dead, he breaks down. Julia uses the distraction to circle the yacht and re-enter through a broken window at the top. The man finds her and knocks her down. She holds on to the furniture as he tries to pull her away and manages to kick him off. He then pins her wrist beneath his foot, forcing her to release the knife. He grabs her by the hair, strikes her face against the floor, throws her onto the sofa, and begins choking her. Cassie and Ben have witnessed the assault. Cassie steps out and fires the flare gun at the man. The resulting fire spreads rapidly through the yacht. The children run out. Julia returns to strike the man once more and recovers the map with Now's coordinates along with their bags. The siblings go to their father's body. Julia joins them. The family takes a moment together in silence. The attacker emerges from the burning yacht. The family runs. The yacht explodes behind them. The family later stops at a small waterfall to rest. Cassie wonders aloud whether the balloons Ben tied to the rock drew the man to them. Ben takes on the guilt. Julia assures him he is not responsible. She urges the group to keep moving, noting the man may still be following. At a stagnant pond, Ben studies the carcass of a hammerhead shark. Julia spots the pursuer approaching, and the family resumes running. They descend a dune and navigate around a field of toxic waste. The man appears to fall behind. As they travel, they pass large dead sea animals and accumulated debris from the ocean floor. Ben begins to slow. Julia recognizes the early signs of dehydration and calls a stop. She discovers the water bottle is nearly empty. Cassie admits she may not have sealed it properly. The argument that follows is tense, with Cassie stating directly that survival is unlikely regardless. The family continues after the exchange. They come across a downed commercial aircraft. Movement inside startles them, but it is birds. The family decides to shelter there for the night. They share a small meal. Julia finds a family photograph inside Tom's jacket. Cassie asks how her parents met. Julia describes how Tom was admitted to the hospital where she worked and how he later declared his feelings with flowers and a handwritten poem. In the night, Cassie leaves the plane briefly. The attacker grabs her from behind. Julia reaches him first and stabs him repeatedly, stopping only when Cassie intervenes physically. By morning, the body has attracted fleas. The family notices bite marks distributed across it. Something else has been feeding in the area. They leave. As they do, a mass of crabs emerges from the corpse. Hours into the next day's travel, Ben separates from the group and runs ahead towards standing water, pushing his face into it to drink. Julia pulls him back and explains the risk of illness from unknown water sources. The family continues under the full force of the sun. Ben begins to show signs of heat-related illness. The family constructs a makeshift shelter using discarded chairs and rests. Julia administers a medical injection, and they agree to stay the night. Before dawn, Julia is woken by an unfamiliar sound. Outside, she finds a dense swarm of crabs advancing. She wakes the children, and the family runs toward a grounded cargo ship nearby. 3 surviving crew members are visible. One, a woman, is willing to help. The 2 men refuse and lock themselves inside a shipping container, leaving the family outside. With the crabs nearly upon them, Julia sends the children up the side of the container and begins to climb. The crabs reach her leg. Ben and Cassie pull her up before she is dragged down. Through an opening in the container, crabs enter below. The crew members open fire, but the swarm is too large. 2 of the workers are killed. The 3rd reaches a ceiling breach but is pulled back down and killed as well. Julia bandages her leg wound and loses consciousness. She wakes in a sandstorm alone. She descends from the container to search for the children. She recovers a weapon from one of the dead crew members. Cassie returns, explaining that she and Ben had gone to look for assistance and found none. Ben leads them to an open container where they wait out the storm. Julia uses Tom's lighter to close the wound on her leg. Once the storm passes, the family finds several water bottles in an adjacent container and a radio and firearm among the crew. Julia contacts Now. She informs him she has lost the map. Now tells her he has come under attack from deep-sea arthropods, organisms from the ocean floor, apparently driven into abnormal behavior by the sudden exposure to surface oxygen. He also tells her the timeline has changed. His instruments now indicate the ocean will return sooner than anticipated. They have only a few hours. He fires a flare to give them a bearing. The family moves toward it. During the walk, they locate a functional toilet. Ben uses it. Eventually, the submarine becomes visible, though reaching it requires crossing a rock formation. As the family picks through it, the ground shifts. A rock slide begins. Julia pushes the children clear and falls back to avoid the collapse. The slide leaves a wall of rock between her and her children. She tells them to go on without her. Cassie refuses. After an extended back and forth, Julia extracts a promise to reunite later, and Cassie pulls Ben toward the submarine. The children reach Now outside the vessel. He is bleeding. He tells them his time has run out and instructs them to take the submarine themselves. With a spare seat now available, Cassie turns back for her mother. Julia has encountered the crabs again. She fires into the swarm, killing several, but the numbers are too great. Cassie reaches the top of the rock wall and reaches down. Julia climbs with her injured leg. Cassie pulls her over the wall and they run. At the submarine, Ben has climbed to the roof and opens fire on the crabs to slow their approach while the others board. The crabs locate Now's body and converge on it. Julia takes over and continues firing while directing the children inside. Out of ammunition, she throws the firearm into the swarm and climbs in after them. The hatch is sealed. Through the windows, the family watches the crabs press against the hull. The ocean returns. The family straps in and takes each other's hands. The submarine is thrown repeatedly by the force of the returning water. Julia loses and regains consciousness in fragments. Cassie vomits. The same high-pitched sound from the storm returns and renders all 3 unconscious. When they wake, the submarine has come to rest in a city. The structure around them is heavily damaged, but the city itself is there. The family opens the hatch and climbs out to find land beneath them and sky above. The real question the film poses is not whether they lived through the event. It is what living through it actually means when everything that made the world habitable no longer exists in the form it once did. At what point does survival stop being enough? And what would you actually do differently from this family if you were in their position?